Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Design Tip Tuesday. My name is Milana Herbaka. I am the owner of New Breed Design and a professional designer of 12 years. And I'm here to help you answer the question, how do I know if I need a rebrand? So you may be a business owner with a couple of years experience under your belt, and you may already be working with a current or existing brand. And this is a very relevant question for you to help determine and assess if maybe it's time for a brand refresh or redesign. So let's get into it. Let's ask some questions. Question number one, ask yourself, has my demographic changed? Your demographic is the people you want to do business with. So either you have offered different services or products, or your messaging has changed, or perhaps the way your demographic responds to the services and products that you provide has changed. So all of this contributes to the strategy behind your brand. And working with a professional designer and brand strategist, such as myself, will help to answer this big, most important question first and foremost. If you have an inkling or an intuition that your demographic has changed, or if you know for a fact your demographic has changed, then absolutely it's likely time that you need a brand refresh or redesign, just to take another look at how you are showing up to your demographic, how you're representing yourself, and if that still resonates with the people you want to do business with. Number two is less of a question and more of a reminder. Time is not a factor here. So if you just had your logo designed and you just worked with someone to create a well thought out brand manual, and you've worked with it for a little bit and maybe something's just not sitting right, then it's okay to get a second opinion. It's perfectly okay to take a brand or a logo for a test drive. And then once you realize that something's not working for you, to revisit that and figure out exactly what needs to change in order to be perfect 100% a representation of you. Now ask yourself again, how do I stand up next to my competition? This is a really hard question to look at because a lot of us don't like to look at our competition. But the best thing that could come out of doing this is finding inspiration and what you can be doing better. A close second best thing that could come of this is kind of reassurance that you're doing everything right and maybe even better than your competition. So really there's nothing wrong could come of this. I like to look at competition and kind of gauge how I feel standing up next to them. I actually look at my logo and my brand standing up to whom I consider my competition's logo and brand, and kind of decide, do I still feel proud and would I feel comfortable with this representation still? Next question to ask yourself, does my brand still represent me and or my corporate culture? So this is a deeper question. Perhaps your brand was designed a few years ago and you've grown or changed as a person since then. This happens. We change. Our businesses change. And our brands should change. They should evolve and stretch and grow with us. This is normal. This is the natural way of things. So don't feel bad or hard on yourself if you start to fall out of love with your logo and your brand. That is going to happen. It just means it's time for a refresh. And my last question to ask yourself is, does my brand look dated? This is very easy to assess. It's a gut check, really. But if you need a second opinion, ask a designer. Tell me honestly, don't worry about hurting my feelings. Is my brand dated? Do you think I need a rebrand? And a designer will either tell you, actually, I feel like the way your brand represents you now is timeless, it's modern, it was given a lot of thoughtful consideration when it was designed, and maybe you don't need a rebrand because it holds up. And they could also tell you that, well, I've noticed some things that are happening within your logo design or your brand in general that I feel might be holding you back. And I want you to be open to taking this constructive criticism and also criticizing yourself in this regard. So looking at your own brand under a microscope and really being honest with yourself and trying not to worry too much about what it will mean if you are honest with yourself and decide, yeah, you know what? I feel like I'm kind of outdated now. That's okay. It's time for growth. It's time for change. It's time for transformation. And I want you to get excited about the process of stepping into a brand refresh, something that fits you better, maybe into a better fitting shoe that you can now walk around in more comfortably. Look at that. I'm a metaphor genius. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. Again, if you think it's time for a rebrand, let's talk about it. No commitment, no obligation to work with me personally, but I would love to have a chat and talk to you about what we can do to help refresh your brand and get you into a better fitting logo for your company. So visit me at newbreed.design or on socials, and I look forward to hearing from you.